Hello everyone, we are getting ready to make a clay bird today. To get started, I'm gonna grab some clay and use my artist muscles to turn this into a nice round ball. Just like a basketball or a soccer ball, I need to use my artist muscles and take the time to roll this into a nice round ball. Once I get into a round ball, I'm going to put it on this texture plate or some cardboard and pound this until it's a nice cookie thickness. The texture on this is bumpy. Texture is the way that something feels. There's a lot of different textures in the world, and we're trying to get a variety of textures on this clay bird, sort of to inspire the feathers. Now I'm going to cut the top of my clay bird off, and this is just going to be kind of a nice round body. And let's see, is this enough clay for the wing? No, I'm going to get a little bit more to make the wing. Now you might have a variety of resources to use for your texture, but if you don't, you always have your shoe, and you can use your shoe to print down and create a nice texture or pattern for the wing. So I'm going to take just a touch of water, not too much, just a touch to smooth out the cracks on the edges. And once they're all smooth, I'm going to attach this to my bird. Anytime you're going to attach clay to another piece of clay, you need to scratch it, sort of like tic-tac-toe. You scratch it to rough up the clay so that it'll bind together, and add a touch of water, and the water acts like glue. So I'm roughing up the surface so that it'll stick together and just gently pressing it on. Now, to be sure that this is not going to fall off, I have a few tools I can use. You can use a popsicle stick to just smooth this on, carefully taking your time and just binding this piece of clay to the clay below it. When we work on clay projects, we'll often be gluing pieces together, and the better you get at attaching these pieces, the better they will stay on your clay project. What's next? Oh, I don't like the texture that I just added, but I'll just try to smooth it out and leave the texture and the pattern from the shoe that I put on there. Now for the eyes. Again, I'm going to grab some clay and just roll each piece into a nice round ball. The better you get at rolling this round ball, the better you're going to be able to do the next clay projects in the future. That's a really good skill. Again, I'm going to scratch and get ready to attach. Scratch and attach this eye. And I'm creating grooves in the clay so that it'll attach to the other piece of clay better. Two smooth pieces don't attach well. I'm going to put some eyes here. Just poke all the way through these eyes. And now I'm going to create a snake, what looks like a snake. It's also known as a coil in clay, and I'm going to gently rub this coil out and try to find the right size for the beak. I think it needs to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to cut it in half and roll it thinner. I'm taking my time in real life, but I fast forward it so you could see it a little bit more quickly. Okay, that's about the right size. I'll cut this in half so I can have the top beak, and I'm going to point it a little bit on the edge so that my bird can be talking, chirping. communicating with other birds. And now I'm going to scratch this surface so that they're going to bind together. And I'm going to do the same for this part of the beak. You can use a popsicle stick to smooth this on too if you want to be sure that it won't fall off. But it's really important that you scratch and attach, adding a touch of water along the way to bind that clay together, to glue it on so it won't fall off. You can even do the wiggle test. Wiggle it to be sure that it's not going to fall off. Okay. Next, I might smooth out some edges, smooth out those crumbs. I call them crumbs, and they're just little bits of clay that are kind of bulky and need to be smoothed out. So I'm going to use my hand, my artist tools, my hands, and then I'm going to add a little hole at the top so I can hang this bird up. Not too close to the top. If it's too close to the top, it might rip through, and I don't want that. I want it to be a little bit closer to the wings so that I don't risk it ripping through. Next, to write my, gotta clean that up a little bit, clean up those crumbs. Still need to do some smoothing. Smooth, gently and carefully. Doing my best. Now I'm gonna write my initials. The first letter of my name and the first letter of my last name. That's my initials. And the year, 2020. And smooth those crumbs out, and I might have to rewrite it. That way my project doesn't get mixed up with somebody else's. So we got a few tools, and you can make do with the tools you have. We're going to start with a chunk of clay, roll it, get some texture on it, and enjoy the process. Have fun!